Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. Today we're going to talk about Louis Vuitton, darling. An ex-employee of Louis Vuitton, allegedly, is spilling the beans on how they were taught at Louis as sales associates to authenticate their baglets and SLGs. So I'm really curious to hear what this gentleman has to say. First, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Push the join button next to the subscription button. Become a member today. Gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon. Super Dacob, all spelled together there as well for extra perks. Thank you to my members and patrons who have already pledged. This video is filmed live in front of my patrons and members, by the way. They get exclusive first view, and they get to partake in the live chats. So join today and never miss out on a video and get a chance to talk to me live. Let's hit it, you guys. I'm going to show you the video. By the way, the gentleman's name on TikTok, and I'm going to post a link to his TikTok account, and I'm going to post a link to that specific video on his TikTok. His name is tomfitz.blog. That's TOMFITZ.blog, tomfitz.blog. Hi, Tom. I'm really curious. So we're going to go through this video together. Hi, my co-chatters. How's it going, my loves? We have faith and faith. Oh, that's for, yeah, right. That's the other topic we were just talking about before. But anyway, I will be pausing the video as we go along because we're gonna dissect. We're gonna review, because this does fall under fair use. We're gonna review what he says, and we're gonna discuss it together. So let's start Tom Fitz's video.
Here's what Louis Vuitton teach their staff on how to spot fakes. I used to work at Louis Vuitton in the UK, and they give you pretty in-depth training on how to spot fakes, so let's get into it. Overall theme that they try and drill into is look at the fine detail. Genuine Louis Vuitton products, there's a huge amount of effort that goes into making them, and they are absolutely immaculate, and you just don't get that level of detail on fakes. The first place to look is all...
Okay, stop. Okay, so right here, I've been a client of Louis Vuitton for decades now, and I can tell you, you know, right now I'm traveling, by the way, so I'm not in my usual fashion bunker because I'm traveling for the premiere of my movie Art Lovers Unite with Vivienne Westwood. I am in Germany at the moment, so that's where the premiere is going to happen. So I don't have my entire artillery of Louis Vuitton products here with me. I only have the pieces that I took to travel with me. So I have my Speedy 35 and I have my Poche Toilette 15. I also have here with me, I always do my makeup. Let me just lift it delicately. I have my packing cube in the size medium with me. So, and I have my wallet, I have my passport holder, I have my key holder, I have like all of those little SLGs, but I'm kind of looking at the stitching on mine. All of these were, by the way, purchased in a Louis Vuitton shop with my sales associate. So all of these pieces are authentic, 1 billion %. And some of them are almost in vintage state. Like, for example, this one is from 2014. This one is from 2021 or 2022. I think I got this one last year, 2022. And my Speedy was purchased in 2023. But I just stopped him here to say, so I know my Louis, okay? And especially canvas, the monogram Louis, like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, I can authenticate any luxury bag, any brand. No, because I don't care about a lot of them. The ones I care for and I studied myself, I can spot. So with Louis in particular, especially monogram canvas, I'm really good. Now, one thing that he just said was that immaculate quality, okay? So he was working for Louis Vuitton in the UK. And I'm like, immaculate quality, girl, we have an issue here because in these past years, the quality has been lower and lower. We've seen other wonderful luxury YouTubers who I trust also talk about it. There's a really interesting video by Minx for All. Hey girl, how's it going, my love? Minx is such a sweetheart. And she loves her Louis. But she also made a very specific video where she said, you know what, guy, this is a while ago. She's like, the quality just, oh my God, it breaks my heart because it's just, you know, really hard. And for me, the same. Took me ages to find a Speedy 35 in the Louis Vuitton shops that is immaculate. They all had some flaw. So him saying that they're all produced perfectly is already iffy because it's not true. They're just not. And so this cannot be taken anymore as of now, 2023, this cannot be taken as a standard for authenticity. You see what I'm saying here? So sometimes an authentic Louis Vuitton product will not be perfectly produced. It's still authentic. So bear that in mind. Let's go on.
Always the stitching. On fakes, the stitching is often terrible. You can see here it's perfectly neat. There's only ever one row of stitching. You will never see a sewing machinist go over the same part twice. You can see on the leather here as well, one row of stitching. The only place where you'll see two stitches in one place is right here on the Speedies.
Okay, let me pause this. This is also not correct. So first of all, yes, they try to do one row of stitches as much as they can, but they do double up stitches often on these tabs, on some of the clochettes. Like for example, even on the pull tab here, and I was inspecting my poche toilette in particular, and yes, they're always yellow. That's a fact. And I know that a lot of replicas, for whatever reason, I don't know why they don't manage to nail it properly. These threads for the monogram canvas in particular, they have to be a specific tone of yellow. And a lot of the replicas are very pale. You know, I'm not saying white, but I'm saying beige. Not this gorgeous yellow color, which turns really lighter when the vachetta ages and gets that beautiful patina. Then you see less of that yellow. This is a brand new piece. The photo that he's taking is probably from their website. Yeah, it is, because yeah, this is a photo from the Louis Vuitton website that he took as an example. But so for example, here we have aging vachetta. You know, it has, this one is from 2014, so it's turning this lovely honey patina. I know it's really tiny now. You can't really see from a distance, but I can tell you this. The way this yellow stitching, it is beautiful. It does follow all its lines, but when it ends, it goes over 3 times. Like there's a double stitch on 3 stitches. Check out your poche toilettes. They all have that. This is not a mistake. They do that to reinforce the end of the stitch. You have to. You can't just like stitch done. There's always going to be a spot. When they begin to stitch somewhere, they began up here, then they go up here, then they go down here, they go up here again, and then when they end, they did a 3 over stitch, and then it's done. So he's telling us here that they do the double stitch only on that little side of the handle, but all the other stitches are single stitches. Not quite true. Just saying. Moving on.
See those
Back
two little stitches on some other bags, but they keep it to an absolute minimum. They love one row of stitching. Also, stitching on the leather parts always has to be yellow. Sometimes on fakes you'll see it white. It means it's a fake. Another super easy giveaway, especially on monogram, is this really thin embossed line. You can see it on the edge here as well. Always runs perfectly parallel to the edge of the leather, and it's always super neat. On fakes it'll be wavy, it won't be parallel, or it's just not there at all. Last point on...
Okay, stop. So here, interesting, fakes have gotten really good. Fakes have gotten really good. So what he's saying is correct about the authentics. The authentic Louis monogram and stitching and the vachetta. What he's saying, I agree. However, and this is a bit of a problem here, he does not acknowledge the fact that even DH Gate fakes right now have become so good that there's no issues with stitches on replicas. Like really cheap replicas have really good stitches nowadays. You know what I mean? Like maybe 10, 20 years ago, it was easier to spot a replica. Now, because the authentic Louis Vuitton also has issues with quality, sometimes the authentic Louis is going to look more busted than the fake Louis. So stitches alone, not enough nowadays because a fake Louis nowadays, really, even a really, really affordable replica can have really good stitches. So just be careful. This is not always a sign of a fake Louis, you know, because sometimes the authentic ones also have bad stitching. Okay.
Speedy, this red painting on the edge of the leather here is always perfectly neat and is only ever on that very edge. If it spills over onto that surface of the leather, it's a fake. Next, let's have a look at the leather.
Okay, let me pause that too. So, yeah, that used to be the case in the past, not anymore. Unfortunately, quite a few of the speedy handles that I've seen in the Louis Vuitton shops, sloppy job. They are, for the most part, pristine, really spot on, but there can be a little bit of that red bleeding over, just a little bit on certain spots, you know? Also, sometimes it might look like it's bleeding, but it's not. It's just that they're doing them so fast, these handles, that they're not really paying attention to closing them properly. So sometimes you're going to see it at the edges. They're a little bit wavy instead of being completely straight. That's just because their quality control isn't really there anymore like it used to be in the past, and they're making them really quickly. So if the vaqueta at the edge is wavy, then of course the glazing will also be wavy. It's still not going to slop over the side of where the leather was cut, but because the leather isn't perfectly shaped, the glazing cannot also be perfectly shaped. So bear that in mind as well. Let's go on.
When you buy it and it's brand new, it's this really nice light nude color. That's because they really barely treat it. But as you use it, it changes into a darker brown from the oils in your hand, especially at the top of the handle here where your hand's actually holding it. And also the sun changes the color of it. So it will get darker over time. That means it's going to be pretty ununiform, especially around the top of the handle. It's going to be a lot darker than it is down here, for example. On face, they're not stupid. They know it turns darker brown, so they make it darker brown. But the dead giveaway is always the fact that the colour of the brown is always perfectly uniform across every part. On genuine ones, it's always darker where it's handled, like up here, and then gets lighter in parts where it's not handled, like down here. Next point.
Okay, let me pause that for a second. So, yes, but again, he needed to be a little bit more specific because he's correct. Your vaqueta leather, whether it be the handle or whether it be just a little pull tab here, I mean, they always have a little bit of vaqueta on every, not every, but on most every Louis Vuitton monogram canvas. Like, even if it's just a tiny bit, they've got a little vaqueta thing here and a little one here. Teeny tiny. But of course, also the logo inside is vaqueta. Now, for the handles, it is an untreated or minimally, almost untreated. And it does darken over time if you don't do anything to it, you see. What he's implying here is, well, if you use your Louis Vuitton product and it ages as you're using it with your essential oils from your hand and water and drips, it's going to get darker where you're holding the handle. And basically some fakes have treated leathers or plastics, so it's not going to get darker. But he said, but some fakes know this, so they make them darker from the get-go at the top. It's almost as if he's implying if you have a 5 or 6 year old Louis Vuitton Keepall or Speedy, I'm talking particularly about these little bags that have these particular handles, you're gonna, you know, if they don't change color there, if they don't turn darker, then ex-sales associate at Louis would tell you, well, you have a fake bag. And that's not right, because some people treat their bags. Some people also collect their bags. What if I don't wear my bag and I leave it in the wardrobe for 6 years to collect it? And then, I don't know, for some reason I bring it to the Louis store because whatever, I want to change something about the bag. I want to redo the leather. I want to take the bag to the store to see if I can, to compare it with if I want to purchase for the bag a name tag or something, and I want to kind of hang the name tag to the bag to see how it fits, whatever. And then I go to the store and the guy's like, wait, hold on, this bag is 5 years old, but it's not dark brown on the hand. It's a fake. No, there are exceptions. Also, Coco Kitty says, what if you use twillies? Exactly. You can use twillies on your handles to protect them. They stay cleaner. But also another thing, and I'm going to make a video about this soon, baby wipes. Now, I know they're not recommended. A lot of people don't recommend baby wipes, but I've been starting to experiment with baby wipes, and they're amazing. Now, this is just my personal opinion. Don't do this at home, you guys, right? Like, you know, to each their own. But for me, personally, it works. And for the handles. And every time I use, they have to be alcohol free and perfume free and blah, blah, blah. But I can make a video about that. But anyway, so baby wipes, every time I use my Speedy, I come back home with it. I wipe it off with baby wipes. And that's apparently supposed to keep all that darkening at bay. It slows down the patina process as well, but it also completely slows down that turning black, process as well. So what does that mean? I take care of my bag that way, and then like 5 years later, Louis is going to tell me it's fake? No, it's not. Just because, you know what I mean? You don't. So just anyway, I'm just saying he's right about it. If you are using your bag every day and you're not cleaning it ever with baby wipes or whatever other products you want to use, Apple Guard or whatever people use for their vaqueta, if you don't treat it with anything and it is authentic, then yes, it will definitely darken, especially a lot in the spots that you're holding it in. For sure, he's completely right about that. I'm just saying you could add that other point as well, because people who are not so versed in Louis are going to think, oh no, mine didn't turn dark. Now it's fake. You know what I mean? And this is, you got to let people know there's nuances and facets. And especially what Coco Kitty was saying, very clever. People also use twillies. And that also protects the leather a lot. But anyway, let's go on.
Point is they really make an effort on the monogram to not cut through that LV logo. You'll notice along the top of the bag there's no LV has been cut through. Same on that purse as well. Continuing on that monogram print, you'll notice that it is always perfectly symmetrical on genuine bags. See how the LV runs perfectly down the center? Same on that purse. On fakes, it's kind of not central or just completely unsymmetrical.
Okay, well, let me pause that for a second. Yes, they do try to center always. So for example, whenever they would cut canvas, they begin from the center and symmetry. So the LV, this one fits 2 LVs. So they're going to try to work on a piece of canvas cut. What does this mean? This means that they're not going to look at the pouch as front panel, bottom, back. They're going to look at it as a total piece of canvas, which is one running piece of canvas throughout. So if we were to cut this one apart and lay flat the canvas, what you're going to notice is that we have 6 LV logos here, and they are placed the way the canvas is cut. You see, you got 2 at the bottom centered, you got 2 here, and you got 2 here. They're literally going to always cut the canvas in a way to place as many LV logos in it as possible, without, if possible, damaging the centering of things. So in this case, yes, the LV is not in the center of the front panel, because then it should be a little bit lower. Because you can see that the LV is a little bit higher. It should have been maybe down here if you wanted to really be in the center, but that's not what they were going for. They were going for the all-over centralization of it. So this is the center of the canvas, because it's one running piece of canvas. So the actual symmetry here begins from the bottom of the bag. So the bottom of the bag is where the LVs are centered, because they're exactly in the center between top and bottom. And then back here, this is going to be a little bit higher, and in front here is going to be a little bit higher. They try not to sew or stitch through the LV logo. That is true, but not in every case. For example, in the Speedy 25s, the vaqueta leather tabs for the handles, they kind of cover the LV logo a little bit. So it's not always the case, and just bear that in mind. And also look, for example, here they definitely also worked. Hold on, let me close this before all my makeup falls out when I lift. Here, for example, they could fit 6 LV logos. So it's all centralized for this piece of canvas. This is one piece of canvas cut here. So that's the center of that one piece of canvas. It's not running throughout. The piece of canvas used for the side, also, they've centered it according to the LVs. But here's the twist. You see, here we have a discrepancy. Why? Because this central part is another piece of canvas. So that extra piece of canvas is treated as its own piece, meaning if they're going to attach this part of canvas and sew it on top of it, then this canvas is treated as its own identity. Meaning, how many LVs can we put on this part of canvas? 2 fit. Okay, so this is going to be the center of this little piece of canvas. They don't care that this and this don't align, because all they care for, and this is the principle for the authenticity, for whatever piece of canvas you have to center as many LVs as you can. See, that's the trick. He's not really telling us that. But once you know that, a whole world opens up to you, because then you realize, you're like, oh, so it's not about aligning every stitch. They align them if they can. It's about placing the LVs, as many as possible, centered in any given piece of monogram canvas cut. That's the rule. All right. Let's go on.
They've discontinued, but there's still quite a lot of them on the secondhand market. The dead giveaway is always the number of colours on it. I think there's 16 different colours on the genuine one. On fakes, I think it's more. There's usually about 5 or 6. The next thing is super easy. Just have a look on the website that the pattern on the outside matches what colour the interior lining should be. On this Damier Ebene pattern, it's almost always red on the inside. On the monogram pattern, the lining is almost always brown. On the Damier Azur, it's almost always beige on the inside. So those are pretty much the basics, but it gets a lot harder when you're looking at limited editions, because they do completely different colours. They pretty much just do what they want, and the rules don't apply. Here's what. All
right, good. Okay, so there, that's it. Now he starts all over again. Yes, I mean, he gave us, I think he gave, for beginners, you know what I mean? If you're just starting with Louis, I think these are really interesting tips. If you don't know anything about Louis Vuitton and authenticity, this is a good way to start. However, it's a bit tricky because, like I said, even for beginners, it's good for the beginners to know that there are differences when it comes to authentics. And the biggest thing he left out, the most important thing, and this is a relatively new video, I believe, the biggest thing he left out is the microchips, which have been introduced just a couple of years ago. Every new Louis Vuitton piece, leather good, small leather good, it is going to have a microchip hidden somewhere. So for example, they used to have date stamps. So Poche Toilette 15 from 2014 doesn't have a microchip. Back then they didn't use microchips, but it has hidden inside a little stamp that tells you the country of origin. This one was made in France. It tells you the year and the month it was made in, right? Now, my sales associate at Louis said, well, Dacob, that's for us workers at Louis, not used for authenticating at all. Interesting. That's what she told me. But now this piece, because it's new, it doesn't have the stamp anymore. The microchip has substituted the stamp. This is something he doesn't mention in his video. Authentic Louis Vuitton bags, as of today, if you buy it new, it's going to have a little microchip somewhere. So, and the microchip on this one is hidden behind this leather tab. So if we were to, take this tab off, the microchip is hiding behind there. Louis Vuitton sales associates on their company smartphones that they have from work, they can scan with those phones these microchips. And the phones then tell them all the information about the bag, when it was made, where it was made, what bag it is, when was it purchased, and from which store it was purchased from. So this is something that they can use for authentication, meaning in the future, if you buy a bag today, you buy a Speedy today at Louis, and then 20 years from now, you take it to Louis, unless technology doesn't change so much that they can't read those microchips anymore. I hope that's not going to happen. They will be able to, hopefully, read that chip and say, oh my gosh, 20 years ago, you bought your Speedy here and here. Yeah, and it all fits. The description from the microchip suits the description we have in our system. So that's something that he forgot to mention, this kind of differentiation between having an older Louis Vuitton piece with a date stamp and no microchip, as opposed to having a modern Louis Vuitton piece without a date stamp, but with microchip. So if I keep my bag really pristine and I take care of my bag and the vachetta doesn't darken, That doesn't mean my bag is fake 10 years from now when the vaqueta doesn't have those black stains where I'm grabbing the bag all the time. But conclusive analysis is definitely going to be final from Louis, because they're going to first scan the bag and see if the microchip suits the description of the bag. And then if they're still doubting, they can always send the bag in, and then Louis Vuitton will authenticate it. However, their policy is, as of now, if they do judge your bag fake, they will destroy it. You will not get your bag back. That's apparently, allegedly, what happens. Everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, just alleged, just my opinion, not rooted in truths or facts. I'm just trying to help you guys out here, you know, because we all, us Louis Vuitton lovers, we love to know that we're buying an authentic piece, obviously, right? And it's always good to know all this information a little bit more in depth and in detail. They want us to buy from the store and stay away from vintage, says Coco Kitty. Can microchips be falsified as well, Gloria? You never know. Technology evolves. I do believe their microchips are also going to evolve. I think they're using like a blockchain technology of some sort. So basically, the thing is, Gloria, there is no information stored on the microchip. You see, the information is stored in the Louis Vuitton system. What the microchip offers is a code to, like a key for the sales associate to unlock the information the sales associate has on their own system. So this is kind of genius in a way, because the actual microchips here don't have information. The microchip will not say, oh, the bag is made then and there. No, the microchip has a code, like a key, that unlocks the information that's on the Louis Vuitton website, on the Louis Vuitton system in their computers, on their smartphones. So that information is not on the bag. So you can't really falsify a chip, because the person trying to falsify the chip would have to know the true information in order to create a code. But that makes no sense. You know what I mean? You would have to literally hack the Louis Vuitton system, and you would have to go on the Louis Vuitton computers or whatever their databases, their software, hardware, whatever it is. And there you would have to alter the information that this code triggers to be unlocked. You see what I mean? Smart. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I also want to thank so much Tom Fitz for inspiring this video. Go check out Tom Fitz. Follow him on TikTok. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe and let me know your thoughts down below.